What's up, y'all? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be doing a review on the Canon 90D. So I've had this camera for a little bit now, and I've got some thoughts on it. But first, let's run down through the specs. So it has a 34.4 megapixel sensor. It uses an EFS lens mount, which is great. It means it's very compatible with a ton of Canon EFS lenses. It has an optical viewfinder, which I personally really like. I prefer those over electronic ones. You can do an ISO from about 100 to 25,600. And again, once you get into those very, very high ISOs, you introduce a ton of noise. So, try to stay away from that. You can do 10 FPS continuous shooting, which is actually huge for all, those sports photographers or those parents who want to take pictures of their kids running around. So great for that. But video is where it interests me a lot. It can do 4K at 30 FPS. It can, stuck at a 30-minute record limit, but can't really do anything about that until you step up to those, very, very high-priced cameras. It does have a microphone jack, which my Nikon D3500 does not. It has an articulating touchscreen LED, which basically means that you can do this. And this is huge for all of us who don't want to have to go back and forth trying to figure out if we're in frame or not. So that's great. It also has Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, if you want to do remote control or, transfer things over a wireless connection. So those are all the specs that I personally care about. And I guess a little bit, let me add to those about the lens. I'm using the 18-55, the kit lens that it comes with. It has in-lens stabilization and also autofocus. You can turn both of those off if you prefer to. So in terms of the body, it is chunky. This camera is extremely heavy, at least compared to any cameras that I've personally used. I know a lot of vloggers have used this camera before, and I don't understand how they can vlog for long periods of time. This thing is about like 5 pounds with this lens on, or a little bit under. But once you're holding it for a very long time, you really start to notice how heavy it is. Personally, for me, I would have it on a tripod since I'm recording video, so it's not that big a deal. But I mean, all plastic build. The lens does have some metal in it, so it's fine. I mean, it's what you expect, nothing crazy. About the same quality, honestly, of my D3500, to be honest. In terms of the build quality, nothing really that significant here. It does have an extra screen on top for a lot of information that you don't have to constantly look at the viewfinder for. So I feel like that's really useful for people who are really on the go and want to just keep their ISO, their shutter speed and things like that just on the go. They don't have to fiddle through all the menus to find that kind of stuff. So that's a nice to have. So now, what all of you have been waiting for, the picture quality. The first picture I took, and off the bat you can already tell how clear it is, especially when you look at the branches at the bottom. They look super sharp, and you can really see how it stands out from the rest of the picture. This is in a more of a lower light condition because it's nearing sunset. Also, you can really see the greens and browns aren't mushed together. You can distinguish each tree from each other. And even this close-up, this huge tree that's standing up on the right side, you can distinguish basically all the different leaves and stuff like that. So it's very clear, super sharp. And the next picture I took was this one right here of the landscape. And on the left side, you can see the orange or reddish orange that stands out. And it's super distinguished from the rest of the picture, which I really like how clear that is. And also you can see the cityscape in the back. Again, this is in a more of a lower light condition, so I think it does a great job pulling in all the detail from there. And it also does an even better job here distinguishing all the greens. So all the different trees down there, they're not all mushed together. So you can actually distinguish which trees are what and stuff like that. So I really like that. And with the sky, it does a good job with the blues. It doesn't overexpose them. It doesn't try to make the blues look a lot brighter than they really are. It's very real to life. So I think this camera does a fantastic job. Okay, so this is me shooting on the 90D. No external mic, just the camera itself. I'm shooting at 4K 30 FPS, and one thing I gotta say about this camera is, man, is it clear. And I mean, the autofocus is ridiculous. Like, other cameras usually struggle, and I'm moving it around. Like, I'm also doing this handheld. I don't have any gimbal, or I'm not using like a Gorilla Pod or anything like that. This is just my hand holding onto it, and it's doing a fantastic job. And having the side screen, the articulating screen right next to it is absolutely amazing. So yeah, let me know how this looks. So, you guys have seen all the pictures and the video. Personally, I think this camera is fantastic. I mean, it's an upgrade on their 80D, their 70D. Canon has this series of cameras have been pretty solid for a very long time. One thing I didn't even mean to mention is that it has the dual pixel autofocus, which is probably the best in the game right now. Sony has developed their own, autofocus that is also very, very good. But personally, I think Canon has got it right now, is the crown. So, I mean, that's another selling point. The autofocus is fantastic. You're never having to worry if you're in focus or not. And that's very useful, especially for me when I'm in video. I don't really have to worry if I'm in focus. So I really like that. This camera currently goes for $1,349. Now, compared to my D3500 here, which is about $500, you're paying nearly 3 times this to get this. Is this camera 3 times better than my D3500? Yes and no. So, in terms of video, absolutely. This camera is probably 10 times better. I mean, you guys have seen my review and how much I harp on how bad the video is on the D3500. But is it better in photos? I don't know if it's 3 times as better or as good, but it's definitely a lot better. I think once you step up from a entry-level camera to this kind of space, you're getting to the prosumer. There are certain software features that this camera provides that entry-level cameras don't. Plus, honestly, that touchscreen, articulating touchscreen, is kind of a deal breaker for a lot of videographers and YouTubers and anyone who's dealing with video. If you're not behind the camera, you pretty much need that, or else you got to buy a secondary like LCD screen, which, I mean, those can be very expensive when you're getting into the ones that are specifically built for cameras. So I would recommend this camera to anyone who is looking for something in that price range. I think having a microphone jack is pretty standard at this price, so that's not really a feature I really write to home about. But yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe. I've got my socials down there, as well as a link to buy this camera if you'd like to. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.